Last year's Strix G16 was overall a very solid gaming laptop. It combined high power with a sleek design and great build quality. And of course, also a lot of RGB. Well, it just got a 2025 refresh and it should be even better and a lot faster. So let's find out what changed and how much better it got. And please like and subscribe if you like these type of videos. In terms of the outside, well, not much has changed. For all the AMD models, the 2025 Strix G16 reuses almost the exact same body as last year, which was already a reuse of the 2023 model. The higher spec Intel models do have a redesign, but I'll review those ones later on. Last year's design is not bad though. It's still very sturdy for a gaming laptop and is definitely built well. And it looks great as well. That RGB strip at the front is just gorgeous. And it really makes the laptop stand out. It stayed the same weight as last year, which is not too heavy and pretty average for a gaming laptop. And it also stayed just as thick. Like I said, it's basically the same outside as last year. But where it got a huge upgrade from last year are its specifications. It now has the fastest processor in any laptop ever, the Ryzen 9 9955 HX3D. But it also comes with the new RTX 5000 GPUs, which are quite a nice upgrade. I got the RTX 5070 Ti model, and this thing goes up to 140 watts, so it should perform very well. This super fast Ryzen chip is only available with up to an RTX 5070 Ti though, and only in the old design. The redesigned models go up to an RTX 5080, but those are only available with Intel processors. Overall, this is a pretty weird situation. I really would have loved an RTX 5080 model with this Ryzen chip. The ports are also unchanged from last year, which isn't necessarily bad. It has basically every port you could think of, except for an SD card slot. The only change here is that it has USB 4.0 instead of Thunderbolt 4, but this makes basically no difference. It also reuses the same 280 watt charger from last year, which is really not that big and heavy. But of course, you can always use a smaller charger for on the go, since it supports up to 100 watts of USB-C charging. The keyboard did get a pretty big change this year though. It now uses basically the same keyboard as on the old ROG Flow X16 and X13 laptops. And I adored those keys. Last year's model had a fine keyboard, but it was a bit plasticky and could be better. So this year's keyboard sounds and feels amazing. The keys feel a lot more stable and just more satisfying to type on. It now has a per key RGB keyboard, which allows for some very pretty effects. And the lighting looks a lot better with these keys than with last year's keys. It shines through way better and it looks brighter as well. I also quite like this full-size arrow key layout instead of those half-size keys. So overall, it's a pretty nice upgrade. The trackpad also got a very interesting upgrade this year. It's still the same size, which is, well, it could be bigger. But now, when you press this button, it has a built-in numpad. LEDs under the touchpad will light up, and it will now act as a touch numpad. This is very handy for everyone that wanted one on the regular keyboard, and it's a pretty cool implementation. It's also completely optional, and it does not get in the way. Now the touchpad itself is also still very good for a gaming laptop. It's not rattly and it has a satisfying deep click to it. It's pretty damn premium. Its display didn't really change from last year, but it was already pretty nice. A 2.5K 240Hz IPS panel is godlike for 99% of use cases. It is double as smooth as the average gaming laptop, especially in fast-paced games. I mean, you will not be able to go back to a lower refresh rate after you've tried this one. And at 2.5K, you will not see a single pixel in games. It looks really nice. Asus does say that it is an IPS level display, so it's probably just a very good-looking VA panel, but it still has nice, vibrant colors and actually pretty impressive looking blacks, so I'm definitely not complaining. Its display hinge is also pretty tight, so it feels sturdy and doesn't wobble much. But it doesn't open up very far, which can be annoying in some situations. Oh, and it has a matte display coating which handles reflections quite well. So overall, it's just a great display. Now the speakers also did not really change from last year. Yeah, they sound okay, but I wouldn't call them great. Sure, they're pretty clear and are probably fine for 99% of people, but they don't get very loud and are a bit muddy and lacking in bass. They're just pretty mid. For playing games and watching videos, it's fine, but they're just missing that extra punch. The webcam and microphone are essentially the same as well, which isn't necessarily bad. I mean, you can easily understand my voice, and every video stream gets compressed online anyways, so they're perfectly fine. Which brings us to the biggest change. This thing is incredibly fast. The Ryzen 9 9955HX3D is the fastest processor in any laptop ever. And these Cinebench scores are on par with some of the fastest desktop chips, which is just ridiculous. In 3D Mark TimeSpy, the high power limit of that RTX 5070 Ti also really benefits it here. And it performs really well. So I'm really excited to see how this thing handles some actual games.
Okay. I love you, man. Oh, okay.
Kinda game.
You motherfucker, man. You motherfucker, man.
I'll hack you to pieces. Ha! You'll never take me down.
Uh-oh.
It's pretty obvious that this thing is one of, if not the fastest gaming laptop I've ever covered on this channel. That 16-core Ryzen 9 is faster than 99% of desktop processors and is the fastest chip I have in-house. In CPU-intensive games like CS2 and Rust, it got frame rates that I've never even seen before on a laptop. This is legitimately a desktop replacement. And since that RTX 5070 Ti has a high power limit of 140 watts, it's practically running at its best. I ran every game at high frame rates, even at full resolution, and you should be able to hit 240 FPS in every game if you turn some settings down. So in terms of performance, this is a great upgrade. You know what isn't great though? Battery life. I tested it in two scenarios, under normal light use and during gaming. In the light use test, I played a YouTube video until its battery died, with his display at full brightness at 60 Hz and with the dedicated GPU turned off. And in this very light use case scenario, it barely lasted 4 hours, which is not a lot at all. Now sure, you could turn the brightness down a bit and you'll get maybe a little bit more battery life, but under 400 nits, I don't really think it's a very enjoyable user experience, especially during daytime. Now in the gaming test, I used the same settings as before while playing Battlefield 1 on battery, and it didn't even crack an hour. But like I always say, you should not be expecting a portable gaming experience for what is essentially a desktop replacement. What you can expect though are excellent thermals. While gaming, the highest the CPU ever got was only 86 degrees Celsius, and the GPU did not go higher than 81 degrees. It did have momentary peaks of up to 95 degrees, but this was only for a second until the fans got going. Those are well within their limits, and that's for a very good reason. This Ryzen 9, the fastest laptop chip in the world, is incredibly power efficient. In that heavy load, it ran at an average of 55 to 65 watts, which is a minuscule amount of power for such high performance. So I guess it still rings true that AMD is just the efficiency king of this generation. As for fan noise, well, it's still a gaming laptop. So it's about as loud as the average gaming laptop. But it didn't get any louder than last year, despite having way more performance. During idle though, I did have a constant fan noise. This is kind of annoying, but it could be fixed by using custom fan profiles in G-Helper. Now, since this laptop is pretty chunky, it has all the space in the world for upgrades. It's got 2 RAM slots for easily upgradable memory, up to 96 gigabytes. It has 2 M.2 SSD slots for up to 16 terabytes of storage if you'd want to. And it also has a replaceable Wi-Fi card. But it comes with Wi-Fi 7, so I think we'll be fine for now. So it's not only as fast as a desktop PC, it's also almost as upgradable as one. Now as for pricing, yeah, you're gonna be paying a pretty penny for this guy. You've got 2 models for the Strix G16. The old design, which comes with this ridiculously fast AMD CPU, and the redesign, which comes with the new Intel 275HX. And then you also have the Strix Scar models, which go up to an RTX 5090, but those are obviously a lot more expensive. This model I have here with that Ryzen 9 and the 5070 Ti starts at around 2,500 bucks. Now I know that might sound like a lot, but with the fastest CPU in a laptop and an RTX 5070 Ti, that's actually decent compared to other models. Now the configs this year are confusing as hell, but hey, at least you have the options. Which brings us to the big question. Is the 2025 Strix G16 worth it? Well, I would say yes. With the fastest current laptop CPU and a 5070 Ti that can fully stretch its legs with that high power limit, this thing can handle everything you throw at it. Yes, it is currently pricey, but they're gonna get cheaper. And if you need a solid gaming laptop and can find one for a good deal, I'd say go for it. It's a great laptop. It's really disappointing that they don't offer this CPU with higher tier GPUs like the 5090, but I'm guessing Asus and Intel have made a deal about that. So I will be testing the Intel variant of this guy as well to see if that one's good too. So stay tuned for that. Now, it doesn't have the fancy laptop stuff like good battery life or portability, but it sure as hell is a performer, and it acts great as a desktop replacement. But what if you want a laptop that's fast and portable? Well, the Zephyrus G16 is exactly that. It's basically like a Strix G16 on Ozempic. But how much slower is it? And is it worth it to sacrifice portability for power? Well, let's find out in the next video. Well, I'll be comparing the two. Now let me give a huge shout out to my YouTube members. Soundwife, Thomas, Inky, Mr. Frosty Dude, Dropzone1, Martijn Snijkers, David Gill, Flimsy, Lawrence De Fabrizio, Aki, Disco Volante, Walter, Suryansh, Daniel, Mr. Nuke, Sebastian, Christian Sands, Real Elf, Squash Bond, Alan, Toasted, A Random Guy, QME, and Eric the Rad. If you become a YouTube member, you get early access to content of mine, a shout out at the end of every video, and you'll also be supporting me as a creator to make these videos. And of course, you'll also be part of the Cool Guys Club, so you can use cool gifts like these in the comment section. So please join if you're interested, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye bye.
Do you guys ever kind of want to know what it feels like to get nutted in?
What?
Damn, it was kind of cold today, huh?
No, hey,